Hello there. Welcome. Always get startled when it says you're live. I'm never prepared. So what I'd like to talk to you today is just kind of, I'm on an 80s kick. I have to be honest, because I love Stranger Things, and I'm so happy to see that series again. And I enjoy the 80s soundtrack so much because, of course, that was my era, and it's really fun to hear all those great songs and great bands. And so it's made me start thinking about what's happened since the 80s. Why was there so many amazing bands and singers? And today, there's a lot of forgettable music. When you hear that soundtrack, you just hear song after song after song of great singers. I've also done a reaction video, which you guys will hear soon, on We Are the World with all those 80s singers performing that song. And what was so interesting to watch is these singers were not spring chickens. They weren't teenagers. They weren't skinny models that were dancing around the stage and doing costume changes in lieu of actually performing live with the band. So that wasn't going on so much in the 80s. And if you watch all the singers, there's such diversity. And there are many people that were almost senior citizens level, and they were still welcomed in to be popular singers of the era. Such a change from today, where we don't really have that many bands. Their singers don't last, and they get replaced. They're like little Barbie dolls that get replaced for newer people. And what happened with the industry, and what people don't realize, is that in the 80s, I think it was around the 90s, two of the biggest artists wanted to get out of their contracts. And those two big artists was Michael Jackson and Prince. This was a little bit later, not in the mid 80s, but as the late 80s progressed in early 90s. So they really fought with the record labels. And so it didn't end well. And of course, both of those guys aren't even around today, which is a whole nother issue, which I'm not going to get into. But safe to say, with Michael Jackson, he actually took a lot of his money and he bought all the rights to the Beatles library. So he had a lot of power and a lot of money in his control. And he fought brutally to get out of the contract. I think it was Sony. And it was really difficult for him. And he finally got through it. And then Prince likewise also went through this huge, that's where he changed his name to the symbol, and he wrote slave on his face. So what happened is those were incredibly gifted, talented singers that had a lot of clout in the industry. And so with that, I think that really talented artists that had their artistic vision, that were making these amazing sounds and recordings, were considered high maintenance. It would much be easier to take a pretty model from a TV show and dress her up, put on pretty clothes. And what happened in the 80s too is that studios became more accessible for people, especially as we go into the 90s and 2000s. So the skills and the ability to work in the studio became a little bit more accessible for anybody. And all the studio skills started becoming more commonplace. Used to be you had to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to go into a studio and have paid professionals to record for you. And now it's much easier for people to produce their own recordings. So we had these high-end artists that basically rebelled. They were like slave rebellion, because these contracts are so controlling, and they wanted to get out of those contracts. At the same time, all of these musical labels were consolidating. So that's what's happened not only in music, but all over the economy, is that it used to be that we had laws against monopolies and about people consolidating, but those monopoly laws have been thrown out. So we have monopolies everywhere. Monopolies are in telemarketing and music and TV and news. And so we all think that's normal. We're living in this monopolies that are controlling everything. But that's what happened in the music industry. There was lots of little niche labels. Same thing with the movie theater. There was a lot of little niche movie companies that would promote little more indie projects. Same with music. There was not just the big boys. So what happened is that the labels wanted to consolidate, and they were, becoming a monopoly, but also they realized, it's just not worth it working with these really brilliant performers because they're high maintenance. They're creating problems for us. So we can make just as much money with the models and the little puppet shows that we can just create music for them and write music as a committee that's going to sell, and the 12-year-olds will buy it. And so that's what we have in the music industry today. It's kind of sad. The golden ticket, what makes it so much better is that we have music all over the world. We have the internet. So although the pop music today is pretty dismal, there is some great singers, but there's nothing that really makes me exciting too much. I'm not saying always, but great art is still being made. It's kind of like we can have a huge parking lot and we're going to get rid of all the grass, but art is going to come out through the cracks. There's going to be that piece of grass that's going to push out. So no matter if we're living in a concrete wasteland of music and utterly forgettable music, like I call it McMusic, it's just you eat it and throw it away. That's what a lot of this pop music is. It's eat it, throw it away, forget it. It's done. It's so yesterday. But great music is timeless. It lasts for a long time. And so we have the ability to make our own music, put it on the internet, and we can discover singers from around the world, which is why I love so much doing the reaction videos, because it's given me hope that there's music being made that's skillful, that people put a lot of passion into it, they put a lot of thought into it, and it's uplifting people. It's not talking about perverted stuff and just like, look at me, I'm so sexy and I have a lot of money. I'm sorry, I'm not interested in music like that. But maybe you are, so if you are, don't feel bad. But there's music can do so much more for all of us. All right, I'm going to sign off now, and hope you guys have a great day and look forward to talking to you soon. All right, bye.